In which country does opening a gift in front of the person who gave it to you appear greedy? That's a good question. I don't know the answer, so I'm going to have to guess. Namibia seems very specific. I'm going to go with Peru. Incorrect. Around the world, there are a number of expectations around gift giving. In the United States, it is often expected that you would open a gift in front of the person who gave it to you. Yes. But in India and a few other countries, this behavior can be seen as greedy. Okay, so I guess India is the right answer. State.gov has a quiz, and they have put together some modules to give you a sense of the norms, the faux pas. Faux pas, a kind of social, awkward mistake you might make. So I thought I would check it out to see if I can pass the quizzes. Let's check it out. Okay, so here we are on state.gov. And for the role plays, they want you to answer questions in a conversation to see if you understand American culture. Now, that's a little tough because there's a lot of diversity in America, and so the culture varies, but they're trying to give you a broad sense of some of the common things you see in the culture, cultural norms in America and around the world. Okay, so let's try the mango seller. It's a role play, and then I'm going to try a quiz as well. Okay, here we go. All right, so talking with a mango seller. Although, okay, just a small point here. Where are the mangoes, though? We got cucumbers, tomatoes, eggplants, carrots. All right, I guess that's a mango there on the right. So he's not a mango seller. He's a produce seller who also sells mangoes, right? And those look like those are chili peppers. So he sells a lot of things. There's some potatoes back there. Those look like lemons. So it's lemons, cucumbers, tomatoes, eggplants, chilies, carrots, sweet potatoes, and mangoes. Got a lot of stuff going on here. You've ventured out to one of the local markets in your neighborhood to do some grocery shopping. This particular market is a block from where you're staying, and it's one of the better ones in the area since you intend to shop here frequently throughout your stay. You want to try to maintain good relationships with the vendors. And then right behind me is the start button. So let's start. As you're inspecting the mangoes, the shopkeeper recognizes that you're American, and he asks you a question. Okay. Why do you Americans put your parents in nursing homes? I haven't done that yet, but I will. How do you respond? Take a step back and say, "What? Where did you hear that?" I think I would do that just for fun. Tilt your head and look away, saying, "I'm not comfortable answering that question. We really don't talk about that outside of the family." Shrug and say, "Americans value independence and parents do not want to be a burden on their children." And then the one behind me says, "Look the shopkeeper in the eye. Well, there is no way I could provide the quality of care they would need." Well, I know it's not the first two. America, I think the answer, I think number 3 and number 4 would be the correct answer, right? What would I actually say? I think 4. I can't provide yeah, that's right. The nursing home can do better than I can, right? I'll stay at a nursing home right now. Sign me up. Sounds great. If you're comfortable with sharing personal details, this can help explain your position. The shopkeeper tilts his head and squints at you. Here, children are taught to take care of their elders and to provide for them in their old age. How do you respond? In my case, my grandmother was ill. She needed medication and equipment that we didn't have. We couldn't give her the level of care she needed. So this isn't a hard right or wrong answer. It's just helping me explore the interaction, which I think is very cool. I like this. This is cool. We couldn't give her the level of care she needed to be properly treated and feel comfortable. Or I could say, that's interesting. How do you handle elderly care here? So what do I say? I would show curiosity, and I would focus on asking questions rather than just blabbing on about my opinions. By turning the question over to the shopkeeper, you are inviting him to share information about his culture. Exactly. Yes, I agree with that. Don't just let me tell you all my opinions. Let me say what I think. Instead, ask questions. It's a great way to get to know someone and to shift the burden from yourself to others. The shopkeeper shrugs. Well, my parents live with me. I would never abandon them to some nursing home. I really respect that. That is something that I really admire about your culture. No. Abandon? That's not how we see it. We just want to make sure that they're all taken care of. Yeah, I think I agree with... I would say the second one for sure. That's how I would respond. I mean, I do respect people's culture, but I don't necessarily admire it. Okay, that's your culture. Great. Love that for you. But I don't have to admire it, right? By responding emotionally, oh, they're saying I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. That wasn't an emotional response. By responding emotionally, you risk escalating the conversation and increasing the confrontation. No, I don't think so. It's always important to try to remain calm in these conversations to maintain a cordial, if distant, relationship. Really? I don't know. I think that answer is fine. I'm just explaining my point of view there. I don't have to admire someone's culture, do I? We don't need nursing homes here. We take care of our own. The shopkeeper squints and frowns. By taking offense at his suggestion that you abandoning your elders, you angered the shopkeeper. He waves you off dismissively. Oh, I guess I failed. For information on how your attitude impacts communication, review section 3, cross-cultural communication. All right, I failed. But the issue I have is that they are forcing me to say the word admire. I'm fine if they changed the word admire to respect. I would have chosen the first one. The two options were to just explain that I think it's good to provide in any way you can, but I would have said respect if they had provided that option. I respect your culture instead of I admire. Those are two very different things in my opinion. All right, okay. So I offended him. I failed. What a disaster. Let's try the cultural taboo quiz. Taboo is when you make a mistake, such as telling someone that their culture is offends you, like apparently I just did. Yes. That's a taboo. All right. Test your knowledge of cultural taboos. 10 questions. Here we go. This is cool. state.gov/courses/answering difficult questions. This is just all countries. In which country should you avoid wearing... I haven't gone through the material, so I'm taking a quiz on something I don't know. In which country should you avoid wearing white clothing to celebrate and using white paper to wrap gifts? China, because that's what people wear at funerals. Correct. In China, white is traditionally a color worn for mourning. People will be reminded of death. Yep. In which country is tipping seen as offensive? Japan and South Korea. Correct. I don't have to go through the materials. I know everything. No, it's just stuff you learn from traveling. I've been to South Korea and Japan, and you don't want to tip there. While in some of these countries it is not customary to tip, in Japan and South Korea, you might actually offend your server if you leave a tip, because in those cultures, work being performed is connected to self-worth. Yeah. for sure. I haven't gone through this, so if I get stuff wrong, it's because I don't know it, and if I get it right, it's because I actually know it. In which region is it derogatory, that means negative or offensive, to call someone over to you by curling your index finger toward you? I feel like that's offensive everywhere. That's sort of, it means it's a come hither is like you've done something bad or sexual sort of thing, like that. Hopefully I'm not offending people. I'm doing it to the camera, not to you. I'm going to guess here because I'm not sure. I'm going to go with the Middle East. Oh, incorrect. What's the right answer? In many Asian countries, this gesture, often used to call someone over to you in the United States, is seen as highly disrespectful. In Thailand, it is only used for dogs. Okay. I didn't know that. All right. Good to know. Learning new things. In many Muslim, Hindu, and Buddhist countries, why should men in particular be careful when crossing their legs? They might be taking up too much space. Showing the sole of the foot is often disrespectful. Touching oneself below the knee is frowned upon, and men's feet should both remain on the ground to show strength. B. Correct. In these cultures, the sole of the feet are seen as dirty because the bottom of the foot is in contact with the ground regularly. When crossing one's legs, you should be careful about the direction of the soles of the feet. I have a story about this one. One time, I was in India at a meditation center, a meditation retreat, and it was a 10-day meditation retreat where you were not supposed to speak for 10 days. I didn't speak for 10 days. I was exhausted during a break between meditation sessions. I laid down on my back, and I didn't know this at the time. My feet were facing, I was laying on my back, so my legs were stretched out and my feet were up like this, pointing directly at the meditation, the temple area, right? So I suddenly heard shouting, 5 people angrily shouting, and 5 Indian guys ran up to me. They were not supposed to be talking, but they were talking. They were screaming at me, and they told me to sit up and not point my feet toward the temple. So I learned that lesson the hard way, and so now I know that. I definitely learned that the hard way. That was a scary experience. But technically it wasn't really a temple. It was the meditation center, but whatever. I learned. In which country does opening a gift in front of the person who gave it to you appear greedy? That's a good question. I don't know the answer, so I'm going to have to guess. Namibia seems very specific. I'm going to go with Peru. Incorrect. Around the world, there are a number of expectations around gift giving. In the United States, it is often expected that you would open a gift in front of the person who gave it to you. Yes. But in India and a few other countries, this behavior can be seen as greedy. Okay, so I guess India is the right answer. When I was in India, I did not have the opportunity to give or receive any gifts. Where might you be judged for asking for a condiment or other seasoning if there is none on the table? Well, I also don't know. In China, I think it would be okay. I mean, I lived in China, so if the answer is China, then that's bad. I'm pretty sure it's not China, because people get up and down all the time, and I'm just gonna guess Italy. Correct. Oh, I thought, hey, it's a food country, world famous food. This is my logic. It seems like the chef would know what they're doing, and if you said, hey, can I have some of this, that could be insulting to someone who's considered a master of cuisine, right? It can be seen as an insult to the chef to request condiments or seasoning if it hasn't already been provided. Yeah, that was my logic there. Okay, 4 more questions. In what country would it be in poor taste to refuse to eat a sheep's eye? What? Never heard of this in my entire life. Kazakhstan, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Scotland. Well, I'm going to go with Egypt as a guess. Pure guess. Incorrect. In Saudi Arabia, sheep's eyes are considered a delicacy and can be offered to a guest in a position of honor. Oh, that's interesting. Cool. What is the meaning of the thumbs up gesture in West African nations? Good job. The equivalent of the middle finger in the United States. I need a ride. Put a curse on your family. I'm going to choose put a curse on your family just because that's funny. In a number of locations across the globe, including West African nations, this gesture is as vulgar and offensive as flipping the bird in the United States. Oh, okay. This is like, oh, good in the United States. Interesting how those have different meanings. Like this one, for example, has different meanings too. All right, 2 more. Why is it disrespectful to greet people using your left hand in many African and Asian countries? They use their left hands only for giving directions. They use their left hand only for devotional activities. They believe the left hand is inherently weaker than the right. They believe the left hand should be used for unclean things. The answer is D. Correct. Many people around the world do not use toilet paper, and the left hand is reserved for cleaning up after using the bathroom. Therefore, if you're offering someone your left hand in greeting, they may assume you're offering them a very unclean hand. Yeah, this one I did know. Not from hard experience. I think I just learned that over time. I can't remember where I learned that, actually. Last one. In which country would your hosts assume that they have failed to provide you with enough food if you clean your plate when eating? I don't know. So if you clean your plate, that's not good. It means you're still hungry and you want more, right? I'm going to go with, just because I haven't yet, I'm going to go with Russia. Correct. Oh, wow. In Russia and a handful of Asian nations, the act of finishing all of your food does not show an appreciation for the meal like it does in the United States. In these locations, your host would assume that you're still hungry and that he or she didn't give you enough to eat. Interesting. All right. Well, I got a 6 out of 10. Not great. Not bad, but there's always room to learn more. Well, I did learn a lot. That's really cool. So if you're interested in learning about norms and you want to try role plays and quizzes and the things that I didn't do, which would be the actual materials for learning, right? Then what would you say, part 1, 2? I think this is where you learn this stuff. It's state.gov/courses. And this is the practice page. I guess there's another page where you would actually learn this stuff, a guide to answering difficult questions abroad. Interesting. Check it out if you want to learn about cultural norms.